I'm Rukawa, a Mr. Ijyuin's assistant.
I'm Emma. I'm a professional hostess. I've been getting a lot of fan mail lately saying they want to see me in a bikini, and I'll think about it.
If you need a cameraman, let me know. Anyways, the other day, I made a big mistake and I put Mr. Ijyuin in danger.
What happened?
Well, the other day when we broke into this house to get our guy, we ran into these two fighters. They had these dangerous-looking weapons, so, Hey, you two! You guys killed the Mutos, didn't ya?
Rukawa?
I thought they were the guys we were after. It turns out, they were assassins too. They were after the same guys.
How dare you!
We never kill the innocent. They got very upset at me for what I said. Then they came charging towards us. Mr. Ijyuin managed to take them out, but I should have been more careful. He's so strong! You got a lot to learn, but you're good. As for me, I barely made it out alive. Those guys are strong.
Are you serious? You could have been killed.
Yeah, but I got more.
What? More?
The other day, we ran into this assassin who worked for the Risen gang.
Oh, I wanna kill more people.
His name was Kominato. He was our target. We broke into his house, but he snuck up on me from behind before I could even blink.
Time to die!
Ah! I knew I was done for.
Show me what you got inside you!
I'm dead.
Ha! Ah!
Mr. Ijyuin, he saved me at the last second. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today talking about it.
Wow, that's crazy. I guess you owe him your life.
Oh yeah, but this is nothing compared to the other stuff I've done.
What? There's more?
That's right. And that's what we're gonna be talking about today. Rukawa's blooper reel that almost got Mr. Ijyuin killed.
Sounds interesting.
I've made countless mistakes over the years, and I'm gonna tell you all about it.
Okay.
And Mr. Ijyuin has taught me a lot of valuable lessons over the years, so I'll talk about that too. So, in my first year as his assistant, he asked me to get him a hand grenade.
Okay.
So, Mr. Ijyuin asked me to hand him the grenade, but I made one big mistake. I pulled out the safety pin before I handed it to him.
What were you thinking?
I was only trying to help, but it didn't go so well.
You're crazy. So, what happened?
Well, there was this hole in the torture chamber, and...
Ha!
Wow! He threw the grenade in there right before it went off. We came this close to losing our lives. He had a pretty good throw, by the way. I bet it was pretty fast, probably around 90 miles per hour.
Wow, 90, huh? That's impressive.
Yup. Next up, this one time he asked me to get a bunch of alligators.
That doesn't sound good.
So I called this rental company and got some gators, but one of them ran off.
What?
Then it showed up in his office.
I can't let this thing get out. I'm going to have to tie him up.
What would you do if a gator showed up in your office?
I'd probably pass out. So what happened?
Well, crocodiles are pretty strong, so it was a pretty epic battle. Ultimately, Mr. Ijyuin came out on top. He tied the gator up and brought him back to the rental company. I got in a lot of trouble after that, though. He called me to his office and tore me a new one. He said I had to focus more. I nearly crapped my pants.
Well, I'd be mad too if I was him.
Okay, moving on. This one time I asked him what the word torture meant to him, and his response really made me think, so I'm gonna share that with you.
First off, the history behind torture isn't pretty. It's a negative legacy. Things that should have never happened. But it's also important to learn about them. It sheds light on the dark side of humans, and it helps us learn from our mistakes in the past. Today I'm going to give you a little lecture about torture, and what I think about it. So, torture's been around for years. But why do people find it necessary to torture others? It all started back in medieval Europe. Back then, when someone did something bad, they needed proof and confession from the offender. That was the law. And getting a confession out of the offender wasn't so easy. So, they came up with creative ways to make the offender talk, and They invented all kinds of torture methods to do so. Remember the Iron Maiden torture we did a couple of weeks ago? That was a very common method back in those days, and many people lost their lives over it. But after a while, they realized that torture wasn't the best way to get a confession. Because even if the victim was innocent, they admitted to the crime. They basically said anything the torturer wanted them to say. It wasn't the best way to get the truth out of people. And our country was no stranger to torture. Torture methods invented back in the Edo period is very famous. Tsurugadoi, a method where you tie the victim up to the ceiling and put a bunch of weights on the back. Ishidaki, a method where you make the victim kneel down and push him down with a heavy weight. And ebizeme, a method where you fold up the victim's body to stop the blood flow. They invented all kinds of crazy methods back then. And in the Edo period, just like Europe, they needed a confession from the offender to punish them. The offender's confession played a critical role, but it didn't work out for the same reasons. Many innocent people were thrown in prison for things they didn't do. Also, torturing of Christians back in the Edo period. Things got very ugly. The shogunate government wanted Christianity out, and those who didn't obey, they tortured them relentlessly. Sometimes they covered up the victims in straw and soaked in oil and burned them alive. They also crucified victims on crosses to send a message. And the scary part is, if the victim didn't agree to give up their religion, they continued to torture them until they were dead. According to some records, more than 200,000 people have lost their lives due to this. Today, torture is forbidden by international law, but I didn't care. I spent years learning about it and decided to dedicate my life to this. Why? Because sometimes people got away with doing horrible things to innocent people. And to get true justice, death isn't enough. Some people, you need to make them suffer. Torture isn't pretty. In an ideal world, this idea wouldn't even exist. But some people don't deserve the gift of life, and to truly teach them a lesson they'll never forget, I thought torture was the only way. That's why I do what I do. I'm a monster and a lunatic, but I take pride in that.
Wow.
I know, right? His words really got to me. Oh, and I got some big news. Ready for this? We got some torture sommelier merchandise. First up, the epic battle between Mr. Ijyuin and Kaminato. He was one tough guy to beat. Relive the epic battle with his awesome acrylic stand. Here's a clip from that episode.
And about what your mother said to you. I don't know anything about her, but I'm sure she didn't want you turning out like this. She wanted you to be a strong person. Someone who'd stand up for those in need. You really think your mother would be proud about what you've done? Whatever. Time to die, asshole!
I remember this. It was really touching. I bet his words really got to him too.
Yeah, that episode really made me think. Next up, Mr. Ijyuin and yours truly, the Death Glare acrylic stand.
You guys look scary.
Nobody gets away from us. Nobody!
Check the video description for more details.
By the way, we ran into someone unexpected the other day. His name was Kurobane Luke.
You're Kurobane, from the Kyogoku family. Shigeo Ijyuin? The torture sommelier? Why are you here?
We ran into him while hunting down our target. He seemed pretty terrified to see Mr. Ijyuin. He was a member of the Kyogoku family. But he started scamming people to make more money on the side. Apparently, he rigged some machines at an arcade to make extra cash. But now he's in a lot of trouble with his family.
Rigged some machines at an arcade? Why are they making such a big deal out of it?
Not sure. By the way, he was super strong. He was insane. Oh, and Moriwaki and Sako made an appearance as well.
I see. So, when are we gonna get to hear about your past?
Right. Well, in the next one, we'll be talking about Kurobane-san, but after that, I'll talk about my past. Honestly, I don't really want to talk about it, but I said I would, so.
Yeah, I know you've been through a lot. Hey, you wanna grab a drink after this?
What, really?
Yeah, but call Mr. Ijyuin too.
Damn it!
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out our other videos. And please subscribe to the channel.